So today we're going to talk about more about economy design. And so far in this webinar series, we've been talking about this thing I call the digital future, and where we have the three pillars, right? We have metaverse, which creates immersion. And you probably have seen this big smack new product that's announced in this world, in this field, which is Apple Vision Pro, right? I'm guessing you've seen some people talk about it now. It's a very expensive piece of hardware, $3,500, and but people are very bullish about it. They think it's the future of augmented reality, or what they call XR. Either X stands for anything like virtual, augmented, and mixed reality, or X is now called extended reality. So I could talk about that later. This is not what we plan to talk about today, but if you guys want to talk, we can talk about that, or I can just have the next one talking about that. We talk about Web3, which is the value part, and gamification, which is the engagement part, and you need all three of these pillars to be strong in the future. And we talked about scenarios last time where if you have only one but not the other, it's just kind of like sometimes like an empty shell. Now, one thing that I haven't added yet, I think later on, it's going to be like the AI layer, and I haven't put in here because I've had pretty extensive experience all three of these worlds, but I have to say not as much in AI. And I generally try to have a high standard of like claiming to be an expert or even just a teacher on a subject. I know some people like they read some blog post or listen to some webinar, and then they start opening up classes. So for the past year, I'd say I only have opinions about AI, but no real quote unquote like content or expertise. But I'm getting close. I'm advising more AI companies and slowly learning that. But I'll say that with the AI layer, it's not going to be one of the pillars. I think the AI is, like I said, a layer. I could put it on top, or probably on top, but it basically feeds into all these three things. But the biggest thing with AI is that, and the AI would, you have this parenthesis, I'd probably call it automation. And the real value automation is create scale, because with the metaverse, the limitation is that it's just too expensive to create all this 3D content. And, it's not just 3D content that's small, right? It's huge that humans can walk in it, they can touch it and feel it. So it has to have all this definition, and it's expensive to create all these worlds that people can explore. But AI can do it very quickly. Also gamification, AI could start to create a personalized journey and create these game mechanics on the spot, deploy this, be smart in your, what do you see, what do you do based on your level. So I think the AI level is going to be that. Anyway, so a little bit of a summary of what we talked before. So we talked about gamification last time with engagement. We talked about metaverse stuff with immersion. We did talk a little bit of the Web3 stuff. Decentralization is very important, permanent ownership, interoperability. But today, the focus that I want to do is we're moving on to how to design for economies. So this is designing economies and tokenomics. Now, some of you have seen this from, have seen me talk about it. I'll briefly talk about this, but one of the valuable, the brand new things for this webinar is more examples about how this apply to different projects and platforms and how to make this actionable. So I literally stayed up till 3 a.m. and to prepare some of these different examples of Starbucks Odyssey, Octalysis Metablocks, Step-in, Axie, other games. So, but let's look at some examples, right? Make it a bit more concrete, so just to see how we use this model to think about different things in society or products or platforms. And we can also use it to improve our systems. That's the thing. I like to make sure models are always actionable. It helps you improve, not just look at it and be like, haha, I'm smart, right? I think it's important to use it to understand how can you improve a system and what's the direction there. So if you look at almost all the mobile games out there, I'm going to use Brawl Stars as an example, right? There's the same thing, labor times skill, leverage times luck factor. So you play the game, that's the labor. You have to log in every day. you play, do the daily quests, and you'll generate like the coins and the tokens and all these the supply pool resources, right? The skill leverage. So there's levels and power. So some of it allows your characters, your brawlers, to level up more. They'll get special powers. So it allows you to win more. And when you win more, then you can more efficiently get your resources, your coins, whatnot. And of course, there's the player skill itself, right? If you play better, you're more experienced, you're an esports champion, then you can quickly win all your games. And so your hour can get a lot of this resources. Then there's a luck factor. And one of the things you want to think about for any project is how important is this luck factor? Like, what's the coefficient in terms of in this formula? So some games, like if you go to a casino, this luck factor is almost everything, right? Yeah, you got to do the labor, you got to sit there, you got to throw in the coins, and you got to pull the bar. Some people pretend there's some skill, like, oh, if I pull the bar fast or slow, or hot machine, cold machine. But at the end of the day, luck factor is almost everything, right? And there's some games where literally whether you get the most powerful unit in the game or just like crappy unit is just luck. It's your labor and skill almost doesn't matter. Of course, it's luck and perceivability. So usually when a game wants to have a lot of luck factors, because they don't, on average, you're very, very unlucky, and so you have to spend money to be lucky, basically, to guarantee value. So in Brawl Stars, there's loot box, mystery journeys. What that means, okay, this is a new game design technique that I noticed. So loot boxes are getting more and more regulated. So in the Netherlands, you're not allowed to have loot boxes anymore because people say it's like gambling. Okay. And there's ways to deal with that because a lot of it is how it's packaged. So before, Brawl Stars when you get these resources, you can open loot box and see what you get. Now it has to be expected outcome. So it'll say, hey, there are 3 brawlers you could potentially try to unlock. Choose one that you want, and you choose that one. And then it says, all right, as you play so many games, you'll get resources. And then when you get all the resources, you will unlock it. So they're trying to go from what we call a mystery box design to a fixed action design. So the reason why it's regulated is because they don't want you to first spend either money or labor into something without knowing if it's good or not, right? Because you could spend all this money and get something bad. And human psychology sometimes like, yeah, I need to do more. I need to keep spending money until I get the thing I want. So especially for younger people, sometimes that creates some addiction. That's core drive 7, unpredictability and curiosity. Hopefully you guys know, many of you know the Octalysis Framework. So they're saying it has to be expected outcome. If you're spending money, you're spending resources, you should know what you get. Now, a lot of people actually complain that, oh, this makes everything less fun, less exciting. So, it's two sides of that coin. But sometimes it's just a spin on where's the unpredictability, right? There's the unpredictability before the action or after the action. So what they're trying to regulate is you do the action and then unpredictable happens. You get something random. But in this example, there's still unpredictable. It still tells you, hey, there's these randomly generated 3 characters that you could choose. Which one do you want? And you choose it. And now you have to put in the labor and work to get them, right? And so, but that doesn't sound like gambling anymore if you put the unpredictable before the action. But of course, and it's also true because then you can choose what you do it. So when I'm advising clients, I talk about if you really want to avoid this lottery mystery box kind of compliance controversy, or even just future proof it, you could literally just have something like all the actions for sure give you like something like even harmless sound like exchange credit. Okay. And then every period it'll say, hey, you said, I want to redeem exchange period. And then it shows you, hey, this is what you can buy with the exchange credit. And it's basically like opening a loot box. But again, the nice thing, the whole respect the users thing is that they don't have to spend it if they don't want it, but it still is like randomness involved because they do the action to get the credit, but they don't know what the reward is, right? They just know they get the credit. And what they can get from the reward is still randomly generated every time, like let's say on a weekly basis when they click on, I want to redeem my credits. So anyway, now you'll see in many, many, many games, like I said, they allow you to buy tokens, buy gems, because that's how they make money. That's how they sustain their team of full-time engineers and designers and graphic artists. and they will not allow you to have liquidity. So some of you have heard, I used to be pretty good at staying away from spending too much money in a game. I think before this game, I'm talking about One Punch Man, the most I spent is like $100, I think, 150, and I felt that was already too much. For One Punch Man, I spent $3,500 now, and I just basically bought like characters. First out because I already love the IP. I like the comic book, the animation, and so when I play the mobile game, I spend this money to get the heroes, right? So they're not on the blockchain, so I don't quote unquote have true ownership. If the game shuts down, I lose all of it. And because I spent a lot of time on it, I decided to delete the game and not play. So recently, I'm like, hey, I missed it, so I downloaded it, and oh wow, there's all there's this new cool hero, and I spent like $500 on it, and I got it, and I deleted the game again because I don't want to spend too much time on it. I wanted to finish my book. So there's no way I cannot trade these heroes. I cannot liquidate it. It's just literally I spent all that money for the platform utility. I wanted the characters in the game, and I'm fine. I'm happy with it. It's a burn. I burn my resources for the value I get from the game. Now, foolish or not, I got value, right? It's like spending money to watch a movie. And so now tradability, like I said, there's actually not a lot of platform tradability in the sense that you get resources with other resources in this economy. So you can't from other players, you can't trade your brawlers with someone else's gems. You can't do that. And the reasons why games don't let you do tradability nor liquidity is because they want to, if someone wants a brawler, yeah, you got to pay the company, right? Don't pay other players, don't with money, and don't use like other things you generate in the economy to get it. Pay us cash. We want cash, right? So that's general game model. And then you'll see that in games, they only give you platform utility. Basically, you spend money, you spend resources, you spend gems. You just make your characters more powerful. You get more characters. You play the game. There's no ecosystem utility outside of the game. Like once I delete this game, there is no value from it, right? Another example of ecosystem utility would be like credit card points, right? Or airline miles. Like sometimes there's Star Alliance, where these points can be used in so many different companies and platforms. That's also ecosystem. There's no world utility in the sense that it doesn't power anything that I have to do in the real world. Unless you're just talking about having fun. And you'll see this pattern a lot, by the way. Skill leverage and platform utility are oftentimes very similar. If we go to game loops, we know that green arrows are boosters, right? And boosters are, in all my research, the crux of a good gamification design. Because we talk about reward, status, access, power stuff, and the best type of reward is power. You work hard in the game to get boosters, to get equipment or gear or power-ups or better fighters to go back into the game and do more desired actions, as opposed to go to the mall and spend your cash. Or, hey, I have #1 status, so I retire at the top and I just brag to people that I stopped doing desired action. Boosters is the one reward where when you get this reward and you stop doing desired action, it's useless, right? It's pointless. If you get a powerful sword and you quit the game, it's pointless. The only thing that makes sense is get a powerful sword, go back in game, play the game more. So because of game loop theory, which I think more of you know than the economy design framework, because of that, you'll see that platform utility oftentimes helps skill leverage. As you spend more labor, you will get platform utility in the form of making your time more efficient. Now, sometimes, occasionally, you'll get some special boosters items that can make you luckier. We'll talk about like in Octalysis Prime. There are power-ups that make you luckier, right? You get higher percentage of getting something nice, or you get more tries, you can re-roll, stuff like that. And then you'll also see platform utility connecting to purchasability. Like, hey, you could grind to get more brawlers, or you can spend money, right? So oftentimes the utility is your character gets more powerful, or you get more characters, and usually can purchase all of this too. But again, there's none of the other stuff. Okay, so that's almost all games out there. So this is where, quote unquote, the innovation of Web3 gaming comes in place. Hey, wait. The video's not ended yet. Well, the video's ended, but there's another video coming out as part 2. So why don't you go check it out?